Simple Modern, and then some top talent tips from Nathan Hirsch. So, a lot of good stuff today. Looking forward to it. How's everything going over on your end so far, Dane? And you said you're a little bit under the weather, but I appreciate you joining us.
Yeah, sure. As I was saying, I was going to cancel, but since it's just you and I this time, I decided, you know what, I'll just come on. And so for everyone that's watching, I apologize if I have to mute and go off to the side and cough and stuff like that. But I'll be right as rain in a day or two. Already feeling a lot better, and things are going quite well. Thank you for asking. Other than being a little under the weather, things are going very well.
Yeah, we'll pray that you get healed up because you're going to be hosting some stuff over at the Prosper show, and definitely don't want a cold when you're dealing with that.
No, no, I'll be good. I'm majorly on the mend now. I'm just stuffed up now. I feel so much better. So just
Good,
need
good.
to, yeah.
Yeah, for sure. All right, well, awesome. So it looks like we've got some people streaming in and watching the show. So appreciate you
Cool.
guys joining us. If you're watching and you have any questions, comments, concerns, whatever, just throw them in the comments and we'll try to bring them into the show and answer them or talk about them, whatever the case may be. So
Yep.
without further ado, let's go ahead and dive into it here.
Let's do it.
So Etsy loses 1.4 million sellers as marketplace momentum slows. Etsy's active seller base has dropped from 7 million to 5.6 million, marking its third straight quarter of decline. The platform also saw a dip in buyers and overall sales, signaling broader challenges beyond just seller attrition. While some of this decline may be due to Etsy cleaning up counterfeit sellers, data shows new seller signups have sharply fallen since the pandemic peak. For Amazon sellers, this highlights the key contrast. Amazon and Walmart marketplaces continue to expand, while Etsy appears to be losing momentum in the handmade space.
Yep.
So, Danon, initial thoughts on that?
So, during COVID, we saw a lot of peaks of certain things. Of course, also a lot of statistical dives as well. I I'm wondering, my gut reaction was, well, maybe they're just cleaning up. But then since both customer base and sales revenue has fallen as well, it
Mhm.
makes me wonder, was this a flash in the pan? And I would think that when buyers go there, well, let's see. I know a lot of people went to go and get handmade masks and stuff like that. So that
Okay.
would make sense. And maybe we're just seeing COVID related sellers just drop off and buyers as well. So it could just be that.
Yeah, it could be. My gut tells me that it's more to do with Etsy no longer kind of being the um losing its what would it be called? Makes it shine, right? What makes it special when they
Mm,
opened it up to all of the drop shipping and foreign sellers and stuff like that.
that's right.
Now, what is the purpose to shop on Etsy versus just making it easy and buying it on Amazon along with all the rest of your stuff?
Yeah. So I was just checking. I wonder if, yeah, because I remembered, I think we mentioned this in a different episode where Etsy
Mhm.
opened it up, just like Amazon did. They opened it up to China to be able to fulfill direct. And that's, you
Correct.
know, we saw the hit for that. Amazon, of course, made a ton of money, but as soon as they opened it up to these mass-produced products, which I'm not sure exactly when that was, but I know it was fairly recent. I guess it's not too surprising that these people, maybe they're going on to Shopify.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, there's been a relatively big revolt, at least a lot of news about upset sellers and things with the changes that Etsy's been doing.
Yeah.
And so, I feel like it's an example of a niche marketplace that was doing really well that tried to expand into a general audience and basically is destroying itself because of it.
Yeah, this happens so often in business that you capitalize on a market and then you go, "Oh, well, we've done it here. Why don't we open it up to everyone? Or why don't we off?" You know what? A perfect example of that is service providers. Hey, we do ads. Oh, cool. Let me also do SEO. And, and then I'm not saying everybody has this, but there are definitely a fair number of agencies that said, we're a full service agency and they're great at one thing and garbage or just mediocre at something else. And, you know, that's because they want to capitalize on the revenue of offering
Mhm.
other things, and but they excuse me, but they're no good at it. So they have no
Yeah.
business doing that or offering that. And I see no difference here at all.
Yeah. Yeah. It's tempting to always offer more things and do more,
Yeah.
especially when people are asking for stuff, like you mentioned with the PPC, and then somebody's asking, well, can you do my graphics? Well, sure, I
Yeah.
guess we can do the graphics, but you're mediocre at the graphics when you're excellent at the PPC.
Yeah.
And then you start getting a bad rep or a bad representation of your business based off of maybe some mediocre graphics or whatever the case may be. And so
Yeah.
that could be same kind of thing here. Etsy was great at the custom products and
Mhm.
tailoring to that market, and now they're opening it up to be more like Amazon, and they're just mediocre at that at best.
Well, I'd say less than mediocre if they've lost what, almost 20%, something like that.
Yeah, yeah, and they were growing rapidly since
Mhm.
this graph I'm showing here goes from 2020, where they were at what, about 2.5 million
Yep.
there in
Yep.
2020. It was just a rapid rise up to about 7 million in the first quarter of 2024, and just a decline since then every quarter.
Now, given that we're looking at 4 years here, I would expect there to be some equalization, right? So maybe what we're seeing is, yeah, all these people, they sold one item, at least one item in the last 12 months, and
Mhm,
they got on there because it was easy and there was a ton of advertising going behind it, and then like, cool, sold that item, and now we're just equalizing. It wouldn't surprise me if we landed somewhere around 5 million,
mhm.
5 to 6 million, and it just kind of equalized. And but at that point, they still more than doubled their seller base in the course of 5 years. That's a hell of a thing.
Yeah, it'll definitely be something to watch. I mean, the negative side of that is that Walmart and Amazon are still rapidly growing their seller bases.
True.
And to see a shrinking seller base when your competitors are growing is not
Yeah.
necessarily a good sign. But if Etsy can refocus on its core of handmade, they don't need as many sellers to focus in on that. A marketplace like Etsy doesn't necessarily get better by adding millions of new sellers every year.
Yeah. That's true. I mean, I think we have all seen that as Amazon grows, it gets worse and worse for us sellers in terms of, I mean, I would never say that there's not an opportunity there. I would just say it gets more and more complicated and things become a bigger pain in the butt the more they grow.
Mhm. Yeah, yeah, definitely. Everything's going to be harder, and logistics is the big thing, right? Etsy doesn't
Yeah,
have any kind of logistics like
that's
Amazon
true.
has, so their sellers don't get any help delivering products. They're got to use UPS, USPS, and fulfill out of their own warehouses, or
Yep.
use a 3PL or something like that, which I doubt most Etsy sellers are using 3PL unless they're the drop shippers and the bulk manufacturers that have started selling on there.
Yeah. Yep.
I just recently bought a couple garden flags, for Easter. One has like Lent on it, and another one is for Easter for He is risen. It has on it and stuff like that. And the only reason I bought it on Etsy is because all the sellers on Amazon were from China, and I went to Etsy and there was a bunch of US based sellers that I was able to buy from. But
Yeah.
otherwise, the most of the products were also on Amazon that I was seeing on Etsy.
Yeah. Man, I'll say it again. I was so pissed when Amazon got rid of the checkbox to display only US based businesses. That
Yep.
was I was so bummed they did that because that's how we shopped. We only wanted to buy from US based businesses.
Yes, I do it with the Helium 10 plugin. That's how I do it at this
Mm.
point. And I just if I see the red flag, I just scroll by all those
Oh, yeah,
listings until
smart.
I see the US or Canada or some European country or something like that.
Yeah. That's
So it's
that plugin is free, right?
I have no idea. I've paid for it for so long. I don't know if
Okay.
it's for free or not for sure.
Okay, I think
Um, we've
I don't
got
know.
one comment that came in. Miraz Hassan says that's exactly right. With Etsy losing 1.4 million sellers and increasing FOB costs, TikTok Shop's cross channel sales data offers some really important insights. A detailed discussion on how the selling strategy should be designed in 2025 will be very helpful. What will be discussed in today's live screen will surely be valuable for everyone.
Yeah, thank you.
That kind of sounds like an AI reply. I'm not sure. Sorry if it's not, but yeah, TikTok Shop is coming up. Actually, we're going to be talking about it here in a couple posts. So we're going to be talking about TikTok Shop. But yeah, he brings up a good point. Actually, could part of that decline be because of TikTok Shop?
Yeah. Yeah, I don't see why not. I mean, we're in it today, so we can only speculate, right? In 5 years' time, in 10 years' time, we'll be able to go look back at these live streams, not that they will ever do that and be like, "Oh, we were totally wrong. It was this."
Yeah.
It
Well,
was
we
Ridley.
won't.
Ridley
AI will. We'll
release.
ask AI.
Exactly.
Hey, was I right in my predictions back in 2025?
Exactly. Actually, you know what? That's a good do we get the, transcript from this?
Well, when you upload it to YouTube, yeah, it auto generates a transcript. So,
Ooh.
assuming AI will have access to that, then it will be there. Yeah. And
Oh,
also, the
maybe we
show
should
notes are on the website. So,
okay, maybe we should feed everything into a Notebook LM, and
mhm,
then just as we go, like, "Hey, were the predictions correct?" It'd
yes,
be
that would
fun
be
fun little
cool.
project.
Yeah, yeah, there's a lot of AI bots that you can build like that. You just feed in everything you've ever created, videos, audios, transcripts, and everything else. And then it basically tries to act like you and answer questions in your voice and everything else.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I think we've got Jungle Scout, a report from Jungle Scout next, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Let's go ahead and jump onto that. So, Jungle Scout released their predictions. Let me jump to that. Prediction. I don't have a summary for that for some reason.
Hmm.
That's all right. So, Amazon FBA predictions for 2025, what sellers need to know. So, Jungle Scout made some predictions. I think most of them are relatively common sense. Some of them we can maybe debate. But Jungle Scout is predicting stricter compliance requirements and policy updates impacting sellers.
I
Now
mean, we see
that
that
one I
all the
would say for
time.
sure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's that's just always happening.
Yeah. I'm dealing with a product right now. It's a slow seller for one of the brands that we sell in it's like a topical category, I guess,
Mhm,
creams and stuff like that.
mhm.
And they were classified as skin changing products or skin coloration
Oh,
changing products.
Mm.
And we had tried to appeal it. The appeals got declined. So they want us to go through and do all this testing and stuff like that. And the brand is just like, it's not even worth it. Let's just not sell them. They're only selling like, 20 or 30 a month anyways.
Mm.
And
I
so
mean, mm, yeah, that's a tough one. How much is it going to cost to get all that done? 10, 15 grand?
we didn't get that far in the process because I first requested, what it would take for them to do it. And so they sent this big long list of all the information that they needed. And one of the
Mm.
things is they have to be registered with the FDA and get paperwork from them for cosmetics under the cosmetics
Oh,
category. And so that's a whole thing in of itself. And so they didn't even want to go through that whole process of messing with it. They're a
yeah.
Canadian company, so they still sell it fine in Canada, no problem, but they're just
Mm.
not going to be able to sell them in the US.
That's too bad. I mean, there is a huge market for beauty here, that's for sure.
Yeah, for
Even
sure.
even yeah, we did a brand called Aquila once. It was a 3-stage process. Honestly, I don't even remember what it was. Um, but it was like a serum and a lotion and an eye lotion or something like that. And we did a very bad launch of it, and we still sold a fair amount of that.
Mhm.
And I mean, there's such a big market for it, but it has gotten much more competitive, that's for sure. It's one of the most competitive markets.
Yeah, and I've said it before. A lot of people complain about the stricter compliance, which I get. I've complained about it as well. But
I
the
think it's
the
good.
the bright side of that, the good side of that, is that okay, this brand that I work with, they've chosen not to sell those products anymore in the US. They're going to just keep selling their better sellers in the US. And if something comes up, we'll deal with the compliance on those because they sell
Mhm.
really well. But that's two less products in that market,
Right.
less competition in that market because of the compliance requirements that they're choosing not to go through. So if you're the one who jumps through all the hoops and gets through the other side, there
It's a big moat.
potentially could be a bigger pie for you.
Absolutely, yeah. I think it's a good thing. Now, could they do a better job of it? Yeah. A better job of enforcing it? You're darn
Mhm.
right they could. Um, there an example was when brand and product gating was first introduced. I'd been selling a supplement for like 5 years on Amazon,
Mhm.
and then they did product gating for supplements, and they just said, "Oh, you can't sell this." I'm like, "The hell are you talking about? We've been selling this for 5 years." Like, "Oh, no, no, you're not allowed."
Mhm.
So, there's yeah, it's they could do such a better job of implementation and management and enforcement. But
Yep.
I think it's a good thing because if you have these junk companies coming in trying to sell products and there's no barrier to entry there, then well, what do you get? You get a whole bunch of people leaving negative reviews on your product to crash you down and then taking your buy box or putting their product on yours. Like I just saw an Instagram from somebody today. I sent it to you, Todd. I don't have it, but basically there's a fairly big supplement seller that's got like 20 different people selling
Mhm.
his product, and he can't get Amazon to take it off even though he's got brand registry and all that stuff.
Oh wow. Yeah, that's so annoying. I haven't dealt with 20. I've dealt with one, but
Mm,
definitely not 20.
yeah,
Now are those are resellers? They're not like knockoffs or anything. They're just resellers.
they're knockoffs. Like
They
this guy
are.
says in his video, yeah, he's the only one that manufactures this product and the only one that sells it.
Okay.
So they're
Yeah,
fraud.
that's annoying. I feel his pain, especially when it's so obvious that they're knockoffs. To any
Yeah.
human that looks at it, in a minute or two that they're knockoffs of the product. But yeah, it's hard.
Even
Dealing
if
with
you
the
don't.
one seller that we had that was obviously a knockoff coming from China, selling at half the price. Amazon wouldn't take it down until we got the product
Yeah.
delivered to us, and that took like a
That's
month.
the other thing. Yeah, exactly. That's the other thing that is total bull. Is that
Mhm.
you have to buy the product. What if you have 10 people? What if you have 20, 30, 40, 50? So you got to
Yep.
go out and spend 5 grand, 2 grand, 3 grand, whatever it is, to buy all this product and wait while they're killing your sales and taking them and bankrupting you, let's just say, uh, because probably that's what's happening. I think it's baloney.
Yeah.
Like, you know, this is not a new thing. This has been happening for over a decade.
Yep. Well, and the other
Amazon
part
does.
that's angering as well is that, eventually we got the seller removed, right? So
Mhm.
Amazon finally was like, okay,
Uh,
yeah, obviously they're not legitimate. But
and a different
then
one came on.
Prime Day comes around and we can't run Prime Day deals because it's going off of the 14.95 that they were selling it for when it was a
Oh
$30 product.
man,
And so it's little
such
things like
bull.
that are annoying where one hand doesn't talk to the other,
Yep.
and we could have opened up a case and stuff and maybe fought with seller support, but that probably would have been ring around the rosy kind of
Yeah.
thing, I'm sure, because they would have had no clue what we're talking about.
Yeah. Exactly. This is the stuff where if Amazon just legitimately listens to not just the big sellers, because I know there are some very big sellers that they tell them what's going on, but
Mhm.
there's got to be some sort of system where it just goes, oh, if some seller fraudulently sells this product, let's remove all data affecting the account or the
Yeah.
product for that. Like, I mean, it's common sense
Yep. Yep.
to me.
Well, and the other thing is, so we're not going to talk about it in the show, but Amazon is challenging the ruling that they're liable for recalls and stuff like that. And so
Mhm.
that makes me think about, so we proved that that seller was selling fraudulent products. Shouldn't
Yep.
Amazon recall all of those products that were sent out to customers, reach out to them and be like, hey, these were fraudulent products that we allowed to be sold on our website,
Yeah.
even though we knew that they were fraudulent because the brand told us so. you know,
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
mean, I
exactly.
feel like there's something there in terms of liability for sure, knowingly selling fraudulent products like that.
Yeah. Well, I hope this goes in our favor. Like, do you remember when we used to have to remit state taxes for
Hmm.
every sale we did in every state and how horrible that was? And there was only tax jar that could be used and it was
Yep.
super expensive. And now Amazon does it for you and they charge you for it. And I happily pay that extra penny or whatever. But that was something that happened in our favor, but that took years.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah, that one was becoming a nightmare. If Amazon wouldn't have stepped in to do that, that's just, I mean, what a
Let's be
hassle.
honest.
I mean, that would have
They
destroyed a
didn't
lot
step
of
in.
companies.
Yeah, let's be honest. They didn't step in.
Well, yeah, they were forced to for sure.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, because on one side they'd say, "Hey, nope, Amazon customers are Amazon customers. These are not your customers. Oh, you have to pay taxes on your customers' purchases."
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good point. They always talk about that these are Amazon customers, not your customers, and then they turn around and say, "Well, we're not liable for anything that's sold on our platform because it's not our
Right.
product."
Right.
Like, well,
Yeah.
make up your mind. Which one is it?
Oh, no, no, no. Amazon will have made up their minds. It'll be, we carry no responsibility unless,
Mhm.
or all responsibility unless it's inconvenient for us or makes us look bad. Then it's your fault, and we're going to
Yep,
punish you for it, even if we did
absolutely.
it.
Yep, for sure. It's I mean that's what else you can't expect anything else. It's just kind of the way
Yeah,
things work with a company that's the size of Amazon. They don't
yeah.
exactly
It's
have
it's
morals or anything when it comes to that kind of stuff.
yeah, that's true, and it has grown to such a level. Do you remember that Reddit post about the person that just made every case that came across his desk
Mhm.
against terms of service, or they were breaking terms of service. I can't remember exactly what it was. That's a perfect example of that. Like
Yeah,
you
he
get,
just auto declined every appeal, I think is what it was.
yeah, that's what it was. Yeah.
Yeah.
Costing businesses literally millions of dollars,
Yeah.
right? Because he was afraid that his statistics would look bad on Amazon, and he got acknowledged, he or she got acknowledged for doing a good job. Like
Yep.
this is the problem where where just making yourself look good is more important than doing a good job.
Yeah, I had an issue with seller support yesterday actually. So one of our products went down because we have a trademark term in the product because it works with that trademarked product,
Uh-huh.
right? So we have that, fits this, and this, and this, and the brand names that it fits with. And so they took it down. And so I opened up a case and said, this works with, it fits with, this is all under terms of service and everything like that. And they replied back with the stupid scripted response of no
Yeah.
response, right? So I opened
Yep.
up a chat and the guy, I replied to him, I'm like, hey, this is under the works with terms of service, shouldn't be a problem. And then he replies, like, what can I help you with? I'm like, well, can you see the rest of the case? All the information is in there that we've been having a conversation around. And then he replies again. He's like, that's what I'm trying to figure out. What can I help you with? I'm like, can you not see the case? Or
Yeah.
and then he's like,
So
oh, let me look and I'll get back to you. And he never came back. The chat just
yeah.
sat there for like a half an hour with no more replies to any of my
Mm.
messages. It's just
I
so he
would
was
have
just being
expected the
lazy. He
case.
didn't want to read the case.
Yeah.
And instead of actually trying to help, he just, I don't know if he disconnected me or just put me on hold or whatever, but
So
stopped
I
replying
would
to
have
it.
yeah, I would have assumed that that they that this person would have closed the chat because it used to be that Amazon graded you on how fast you closed cases, and that's when we had those 2 years of just like you put in a case and it gets closed as resolved without
Yep.
any response or anything. Um, I'll bet you that he's going and just leaving that open to put time on the clock, and then he can say, "Hey, look at how many cases I've resolved
Mm-hmm.
over this period of time. This one took 30 minutes, but I got it resolved. That one took 35 minutes in the same hour,
Yeah.
and I got both of them resolved." I'll bet you that's what it is. You should try responding today if you
It
still got
it
the
could
window
be.
open.
I should check the case again because I closed the chat and I went back to the case and I just sent a message by email. And when I went into the case, the chat conversation was not in the log at all. So I don't know if he
Interesting.
removed it somehow or if it was just not there yet. I'll have to look today and see if it's there. But these kind of things are not rare. They happen every day
All
if
the
you deal
time.
with
Yep.
support and have lots of
Yep.
products. So
Yep.
it's just
Yep.
very frustrating.
It is
So
extremely frustrating.
prediction number 2, which this is going way out on a limb. FBA fees are going to go up and changing storage costs. So yes, fees
You
are going
know,
to go up, storage costs are going up.
I don't see that happening. Amazon said they weren't going to do it anymore. They're definitely going to stay to their word.
Yeah. Well, let's see. We've got how many days are in this month? I don't know. So we've got like 9
30,
or 10 days before fees go up on April
31.
1st for AWD storage and
Yep.
receiving and shipping. So,
Yep. I
yeah.
told everyone that went into AWD and what's the other one? AGL. Um that they pull you in with these lovely rates and then they lock you in and you're committed and then they slowly raise your rates.
Yes. Yeah, you gotta, using AWD makes sense for some products, but
Sure.
you always gotta be watching the fee increases and stuff because that can change at any moment.
Yeah. And what was it that they offered? They there was no um They got rid of the inbound cost if you were using AWD, and maybe some other percentage decrease. Was that what it was?
Yeah, you don't pay any inbound placement fees,
Mm-hmm.
and you can ship everything to a single location, which is the main
Mm-hmm.
benefits. But what's
Yep.
changing is previously they did not charge any receiving fees. They only charged a fee when it left the AWD warehouse and went to FBA.
Mm.
Now they're splitting that and charging half on receiving, half on shipping out, and they're also increasing the storage rates.
There you
So
go. That's
they
how they get
were
that.
they were getting
Yeah.
killed on the front end, I think, because everybody's sending their inventory in there, and they weren't getting any money for all the receiving they were doing into those
Yeah.
warehouses. And as long as it sat in the warehouses, they never got those receiving or shipping fees, just the really low storage fees,
Yep.
which they're still relatively low. They're more comparable now to a lot of 3PLs out there, but still on the low side for sure for the storage side of it. A lot cheaper than
Yeah.
FBA.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it won't be forever.
No, definitely not. Nothing is forever,
Nope.
especially in e-commerce.
Yep.
So AI automation reshaping Amazon fulfillment. This one I thought was interesting. They're predicting AI driven inventory forecasting and AI powered customer support taking over a lot more.
That that could be better.
Yes.
But I mean, you won't have to wait as long. But how many times have you put data into an AI and then asked it a question based on the data and it gives you a completely wrong answer?
Yeah, definitely.
All the time. And so, but if they did a good job of it, and their team goes, hey, let's list out all of the most common questions and what is the real legitimate answer based on TOS policy, etc. Okay, cool. And if you can, but the problem is the problem is going to come to when you have to prove something, when you have to
Mhm.
provide data. And I found out that Amazon was using a version of AI many years ago for forms that you had to fill in for supplements. And
Okay.
because I had a misspelled word in the form, I kept getting denied. And I spent hours, just hours on the phone. I finally got to somebody in support in England, and I said, "Is this form just being read by a computer?" And he's like, "Yeah, it is." I'm like,
Mhm.
"Oh my god, that's the problem." So this is one of those situations where if you don't cross your T's and dot your I's, you misspell a word, you got anything wrong at all, you're just going to go back and forth on a denial.
Yeah.
I see the launch of this being a massive problem, but maybe eventually you get actually better support.
Yeah. For AI powered customer support in particular will be great for all of your basic stuff. Like the questions that probably 75% of people ask Amazon support, it'll probably be really good at that.
Yeah,
It angers me
we
all the
hope.
time because I'm the kind of person I've already done all the basic stuff and tried some of the advanced stuff. So by the time I go to support, I'm
Yeah.
already beyond 95% of the information the chatbot's
Yeah.
going to give me, you
Yeah.
know? And
Yep.
so for me, it's just annoying because then I got to try to figure out what do I need to type to get to real support is basically
Mhm.
the battle that I end up finding myself in.
Mhm. Yep.
So the we're already in a situation where almost no company has support anymore. And I think with AI, that's just going to take it to the next level where no one's going to want to offer like real life support. And so
Yeah.
For a majority of people, that'll probably be fine. But for those of us that do the more advanced stuff, it's just going to drive us crazy.
Yeah, I see a place for companies like SimplyWorks and Seller Candy. I see an expansion of those services to help you with your complicated support issues.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. You have to go to a special consultant or an agency just to
Mm-hmm.
get your support questions answered, because you have to know
Mm-hmm.
the proper escalation path to get to a real live person.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Yep.
for sure. Or you just create an AI bot that can battle with the AI customer support bot to get to the real life people. Oh, the
But then
world
that
that
would
we're
be
going to
against
create
terms of
for ourselves.
service. Of course, that would be against terms of service because then you're using up Amazon resources to win your way, and then whoever created that AI gets sued by Amazon.
Yeah. Yeah. Probably. I'm sure they'll put that in there for sure.
Yeah. If I have genuinely considered going and getting a job at Amazon to see if I can just go in and help clean stuff up, because as a seller of 15 years on Amazon, I've seen the progress from 2010 to today. And there's just so many things where it's like, no, if this, then that.
Yeah.
And you'll just have it solved in 30% of the amount of time.
Yeah. I feel like in a bureaucracy that Amazon has become, people like you and I would just be driven crazy.
Oh, for sure.
Unless you got a leader like Elon Musk who's willing to just go crazy on companies, it's just going to drive you crazy, because you're going to have tons of suggestions and know how to make things better, but you're never going to see things actually
Yeah.
implemented half the time, if not more. A super majority of the time, unfortunately.
Yeah. Yep. I agree with you.
Yeah.
All
Social
right.
commerce and external traffic driving more Amazon sales is their next prediction, that platforms like TikTok, Instagram, and Facebook are going to be increasingly important for driving Amazon sales.
So Amazon did partner up with TikTok
Mm-hmm.
in some capacity. They announced it at the last Accelerate. And I agree with this. This is not something new. This has been happening and becoming more and more sophisticated for years now. Back when I launched my beauty product, I just found micro influencers on YouTube and then
Mm-hmm.
had them linked directly to my Amazon listing,
Yep.
and that was successful. Now you've got these TikTok influencers, you've got Levanta, and Levanta, their influencers have web pages and TikTok and Instagram and all that kind of stuff, and these blogs on the best products for whatever. And so it's just been getting more and more sophisticated and organized.
Mm-hmm.
I also, however, on the influencer side of things, I also predict a decrease on that being as effective as people wise up to the fact that this video is bullshit
Yeah.
because they got paid to do it. So if
Yeah. I'm always telling my wife that, because she'll see something on Instagram and I'm like, yeah, they're probably getting paid to do it, or they're an affiliate. You can't even trust half those people's opinions. Well,
yeah,
super majority of them, I would
yeah,
say. They're just pushing whatever product is paying them the most.
yeah. A perfect example of that is I was this close to buying a desk from a company called Secret Labs. In fact, they make this chair that I have. So,
Okay.
Secret Lab.
Yep.
Um, at the end of the day, with it fully specced out the way I wanted it, it was $2,000. So it's a
Mm.
fairly expensive desk, right? For an office desk. It's a
Yep.
sit and stand desk. And I went on the hunt for videos that were not sponsored by them. I found like one or two. And it's like
Yep.
then I went to competitors and I found this company called Desk House, spelled Haus, Desk House. They're in America. and they of course buy materials from all over the place, but they're American made, American. No, actually, I believe they manufacture their stuff in Wisconsin or something like that, and they're of a similar price. And they did a side by side comparison, and the desk I was about to buy was crap. But nobody ever raised this desk up and poked it with a finger to see, and it wobble back and forth. And then they
Mm,
did the same thing to their desk. I'm like, okay, I'm getting a 4-post desk, not a 2-post desk, you know? So it's getting hard to find and legitimate review videos.
yeah.
And so I think that the buyers are going to get more and more wise up more and more to this being baloney and looking for the legitimate stuff. But there's no question it works today.
Yeah. 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 You used to, it used to be really easy to know who was just trying to sell you something, the used car salesman and,
Yeah.
the what was it? QTV,
Oh, yeah.
those online, the TV sales platforms. I forget what the
Yeah.
name of it is, but it used to be
H
really obvious. You would know pretty quickly who was trying to sell you something. And then on YouTube and places like that, those are a lot of times more legitimate reviews. But now the just fake reviews and promotions and everything are just everywhere. It's become an entire industry. So you can't really trust any video that you see anymore.
Right. Now, one thing that YouTube and a few other places have done to try to circumvent that a little bit is that you have to mark that you were paid or that this is a sponsored video. So there
Mhm.
is that. Now, if you do legitimate videos and you still got it on sponsor, and all you have to do, all those people have to do is say, look, I was sponsored, I was given this with no strings attached. This is my honest opinion.
Mhm.
And if I didn't at least like it, then I wouldn't have done a review and told them, no, I'm not going to do it. So that those types of videos, I think most of these people are going to have to, these bigger influencers are going to have to move over towards.
Mhm.
But yeah, we'll see
Yeah. Yeah. There's always going to be a market for it.
for sure.
But I do think social commerce is going to be huge going forward. It's just
I
people
mean, it is
love
today.
that style of shopping. And, my wife is just always seeing things on Instagram that she likes. My wife's mother, we get packages at the door from this lady that she watches on Instagram. It's like it's like the old school TV shopping network, but this
Yeah.
is on Instagram from this
QVC.
lady. So QVC, there we go.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. And I think that Amazon, I could be wrong, but I believe that they've decided to reinvest into the Amazon influencer in some capacity,
Mhm.
because that's the new age version, is live streaming these products. That's the new age version of QVC, right? You find somebody who you like, and it's
Yep.
not just a TV show that's on 24/7. This person says, "Hey, I'm going to live stream this time,"
Yep.
and you know,
Well,
there's it's
that's
yeah,
going to be the thing is, and I think it's already happening to a point where people are waking up and realizing that they can't trust any of these influencers for the most part. Yeah,
yeah,
it's kind of like if you go way back when TV first came out, and if you saw it on TV, yeah, it
yeah.
must be true. It must be a really good product. They say so on
That's
the
yeah,
advertising.
as seen on
And
TV, man.
yeah, now everybody knows everything you see on TV is a bunch of bull. And so I think there's been a period with social media where people see all these influencers and they're like, "Oh, this must be really good." And now people are going to start wising up to that, and so that's going to get harder and harder. And trusted influencers, like you said, are going to be worth a lot more than just your random
Absolutely.
influencer.
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely. And they're gonna
definitely.
be one of the ones making all the money.
Yeah.
Deservedly so.
This next one, AI optimized advertising becoming more prevalent on Amazon. I think this one is a little bit of a controversial topic. Some people say AI driven advertising is horrible, that you
It
should do
has
it
been
manually,
historically.
and other people swear by it. So, what do you think, Dana? Have you played with both of them at all, or with AI advertising, I should say?
So I haven't personally done it, but one of my partners, August, who does our PPC cleanups, and we don't actually run PPC for people. We just go in and fix stuff and then turn it back over with a little bit of training. But he said he's used most of them. There's a lot, obviously, and
Mhm.
he still prefers to do it manually. He's okay with PPC, with AI reporting and suggestions, but he is universally said that all. And I'm sorry for those of you that are my friends in the space, and I'm sure they're not the story isn't the same for everyone. But my partner said universally all AI PPC management systems do not do a good job
Mhm.
because, well, I don't know why, but so for anything that he does, and he manages just a few accounts, himself and a couple of our buddies, he does it manually, and we use Ad Labs for our tracking, and because there's some really good bulk operations in there, but yeah, let's see. And they
Hmm.
actually just released something the other day.
Ad
Um,
Labs, you said
mhm.
that one there.
Yeah, yeah. And not that I'm trying to plug this, but I think if you use the code Danon, you get like an extended trial or something like that.
Okay,
I think. Let me.
very good.
I met these guys. Yeah, I met these guys at Accelerate, and I got on the phone when I was sitting down with them. Got on the phone with August. I was like, "Hey, dude, what's your questions?" And I just asked him, answered, and we sat down for probably half an hour while August asked him a bunch of questions. Like, yeah, cool, I'll try it. And so he's converted all of his management over to them, which for me, he's been running ads since ads dropped, since ads was released on 3P. So
Hmm.
he really, really knows his stuff. And he's he's a profit kind of guy. He's not a launch or anything like that. He optimizes for profit. And
Yep.
so this is what he said is the best.
Okay, very good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm torn on the AI advertising. I think it could definitely be beneficial for some things, but you're going to want to be manually verifying for sure. The
Yeah.
AI giving you recommendations and telling you what it thinks it should do would be good, but having someone who knows PPC and knows the product is even more important, I think, and knowing the industry and the category really well is going to be
Yeah.
better than AI, at least right now.
Yeah. And then also you have outside influencing scenarios, right?
Mhm.
Let's take COVID. All right, cool. Now everybody makes masks, but if you were trying to stay in an ACOS of 20%, uh, and on that product in 2020, well, guess what? You'd get zero sales and you'd stay at that ACOS.
Mhm. Yep.
So there's just I'd be surprised if there was ever a day where you could just fully trust AI without human verification,
Yeah.
because AI is trained on the opinions of whoever wrote whatever the hell they wrote on the internet. Doesn't make
Yep.
it right.
Yeah. And as we all know, like you said, AI gets it wrong all the time.
All the time.
The
Yeah.
one that I always like to bring up, as I have, is I asked it to give me the highest peak in all 50 states. And I think the first time
Yeah.
it gave me like 48 states. And then I said, you're missing two. And it gave me 54 states. It's like, okay, definitely
Awesome.
not going to
Yeah.
trust you going forward after that one.
Yeah. And another thing is like Dolly, for instance. That's the one that you use to create images. If you this is another a visual example of how the AI is trained. and what it's capable of doing. If you tell it to create an image of a watch at 12 o'clock, you'll get 10:10.
1010 in Dolly.
Mm-hmm.
All right. I wonder how
And
Grok does on that.
let's see. Share your screen on that. Let's
Create
see.
an image of a watch, you said,
Yeah.
at 12 o'clock.
Yeah. Just 12 o'clock, 12:15, whatever. It doesn't matter.
All right. Let me bring it over and we'll do it live here. Let's see
All right,
what kind
let's
of
do it.
image it gets. Create an image of a clock at 12
Wristwatch.
watch.
Let's go with a wristwatch.
Wristwatch at 12 o'clock. Well, Grok is supposed to be super advanced right now, right? So
Okay.
we'll see what it makes. It's got the newest data set out there from all of them. So we'll see what it does.
Yep. So we've got an 8 o'clock, a 1 o'clock. Oh no, a 12:20,
12:20,
12:05, and a 10 o'clock.
155, and 150. Yeah.
I'll tell you that
none of them were able to get it. Wow.
Yeah. So that I tell you, that is a lot better than what Dolly can do. Actually, let me just I'll use the same prompt. It was what was your prompt? Create an image of a wristwatch
at 12 o'clock. But still, something so simple, and it can't do that, but yet you're going to trust it with thousands or tens of thousands of dollars a month to run your ads for you.
Yeah. So this again just points to the fact that an AI is only as good as its training, right?
Mhm.
Okay, so I used the exact same prompt and I essentially got 2 wristwatch. Here, let me share my screen now.
Yeah, I like on the one image here, it put 2 watches on one person's
on the
arm,
one
and
wrist.
both of them are at different times. One of them has four clock counters on there, 4 hands.
Yeah. Are you seeing my screen now?
No, I do not see your screen.
All right. Oh, I see. I need to. There we go. You should see it now.
Yep, I got it.
Cool.
Add to stage. It's not letting me do that. Let's remove mine. Add yours. There we go. Okay.
Yeah. So there you go.
Yeah.
And the
it made a
reason
very
why
slick looking watch, but neither of them are at 12 o'clock. So
right. And here's the reason why. If you go to virtually any advertisement for a wristwatch, 10:10 is the most attractive looking time on a wristwatch.
okay.
And so all of the yep. So all of the images available, not all of them, but a significant number of the images available on which Dolly is trained, those say 10:10.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. Yeah, that's just what I'm talking about. You got to be careful with AI. It's great for so many things, but it can get things wrong. I use it to write code a lot, app scripts to manipulate data and spreadsheets. And it does really well, but sometimes I'll copy and paste the code in and it'll get an error, or I'll say, something is wrong. And then it'll be like, oh, my mistake. I put this in there wrong. And then it will correct it. It's like, okay. Yeah. So you're going to run my ads and then you're going to accidentally put in the wrong bid. And then be like, oh, sorry about that. I entered the wrong bid.
I thought that your budget was $100,000 a day.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So just be careful with the AI stuff for sure. And the last prediction, I think this is the last one. No, they've got a couple, but we'll go through these real quick and then hit the last story. Amazon warehousing and distribution network expanding as an alternate to FBA. That's for sure. Increasing competition and the growing need for product research.
That's always been there.
Yeah. Augmented and virtual reality becoming a bigger deal in e-commerce.
Okay.
That I don't know. That's been like I don't know, like 2 decades in the making, at least. Yeah. 3 decades, maybe, the augmented reality, virtual reality, and it's just failed every time. So I don't know if I buy that one.
Amazon does support AR, so you can upload AR images. so that people can see them in their homes. And I think that part of the reason that it's failed is virtual reality. I think that's baloney. Like, not every household has Google goggles or an Oculus or whatever Apple's is,
Mhm.
but the phones, our phones have gotten better and better. And now all of our phones have these infrared lasers, and they can actually look at the size of a room and then put the correct aspect ratio of a product in there. And so
Yeah.
rumor has it that if you have a product that sits on a tabletop or as a chair or whatever, and you add images that support AR, that you get a boost in sales.
I could see that. The virtual showroom is kind of cool. Well, I don't know if that's a
Mhm.
virtual showroom, but what you're talking about, where it literally takes the product and puts it in your room so you can visually
Yes.
see it, that
And
is
that's
kind of cool.
AR.
So I could
Yeah.
definitely see that augmented reality stuff. I've been hoping for cars to put augmented reality windshield glass
Yeah.
on there so that the map lines, when Google Maps says turn left up here, there's like a literal arrow
Yeah.
pointing
Yeah.
to the road on your windshield. That would be really
I mean,
cool.
they've got that today. And basically what it is there's a screen in your dash and a square on your windshield
Yeah.
that reflects. And
Yes.
they've gotten better because the screens have gotten brighter, and it is a pretty good overlay. And I know that Chevy many, many years ago played around with using infrared, not infrared, is it heat? Whatever it is that sees heat. Maybe it is infrared.
Infrared. Yep.
Yeah. And overlaying that on an even larger reflective place of your windshield so that at night you could see bodies or dogs walking around. They
Yeah.
never moved forward with it, but they were testing it.
Those kind of things are really cool. And that I could see having a major impact. But yeah,
Mhm.
virtual reality, I think that's going to be a niche thing for a long,
Yeah,
long
majorly.
time, if it
Yeah.
ever is not. So
Yeah. One day
we'll
someone will
see.
come out with some glasses you can put on in front of your mirror, or just a mirror that you can buy, and you can tap on your phone. I want to see what it'll look like in this dress, because I wear dresses all the time.
Yeah.
Awesome. This is what I look like in this dress. I don't
Yep.
want it, or I do want it. How does this blouse look on me? How does this hat look on me? You know, but yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
If they
that's
can ever get virtual reality to a point where it's just like putting on sunglasses and it's that simple, then I could see it becoming a bigger deal. But, augmented reality has a lot more possibilities than virtual
agreed.
reality outside of gaming.
Yeah, agreed. And they'll use that to move into the VR.
Yep. Yep. For sure.
Eventually we'll get there.
All right, cool. Well, let's wrap it up there. We're over the
Yeah.
top of the hour here. So I appreciate you joining me, Danon, and everybody out there
You're welcome.
watching. Appreciate it as well. We'll see you guys next Friday. Have an awesome
See you
weekend.
later. Bye, everybody.
Later.
See you at Prosper.